Hello and welcome back once again to our How to Paint the Sanguinor here. This is going to be our last episode. I did quite a little bit of touch-up and just kind of finished off everything else we were working on last time because I want this to be the final episode, and I didn't really want to have to drag it down any more than I had to, so I figured I'd kind of take the liberty to speed things along. We are going to go ahead and dive right in. I'm actually was just working on this just to kind of catch us up, but we still need to add one more layer to it. I was working on that oath paper. I forget the name of it already. I always forget it, man. The little scroll thing on his leg there. The name will come to me in a minute, but this is, of course, our Flayed One Flesh. It's what we used on the kind of scrolls that hold him up, as well as I put it on his shoulder guard there. I believe all of that was, well, the shoulder guard itself was all off camera, but we did start with the scrolls last time, and then I finished the wash on it. I believe we did Reichland Flesh Shade. I just continued that along the back and the sides to really kind of finish that off. And we'll let this dry a little bit. We'll come back and worry about that in just a moment. While that's drying, though, we're going to go ahead and go into our next little detail work. This is going to be our Dryad Bark, which I didn't even have in my initial lineup. I didn't realize that there was anything leather on this specific model, but he does have kind of like a garter belt almost, and then he has a actual belt kind of holding up that little flask of blood there on his hip. And of course, we want to make sure this is nice and watered down, as always. So just adding a little bit of water in, and we'll actually get some more paint. Our ratio's a little bit messed up on the palette, but it's fine. We can fix that very easily. And I want to be a little bit careful here. I don't want to mess up any details, but we're going to follow this belt all the way around as quickly and precisely as we can. I really don't want to mess up that the bright white on the emblem itself there. That'd be very annoying. I also did all that off camera. I think I did the undercoat last time with that gray sear. Oops, if I can avoid dropping this. And then I followed up with, of course, our Corax white, just because it took multiple layers, and again, I didn't really want to waste your guys' time, because I don't want to drag this out for an extra part, because I have an extra project that I want to get to very soon. If you've seen my other videos, I've talked about it quite a lot, especially while I was waiting for this specific model, and you'll have to bear with me on the angle here real quick. But I ordered the Sanguinor and the Red Gobbo models together, and both of them arrived, as you can obviously tell. So that's going to be our next project, I believe. I might push it back just a little bit, just to kind of save it for kind of closer to December, but I might not. I'm really on the fence about it, so who knows. This will definitely, as soon as I finish this up, though, I will definitely start on the next project, whatever that will be. So hopefully you guys won't have to wait too long in the interim. Also, I didn't point out, but I did do some base coating with the Abaddon Black. I did all these little emblems, and then as well as the little recesses there in between his armor palettes. Just because it was really basic, and there's not a lot to it. I figured that'd be kind of boring as well, so I figured we'd skip that out. And then one more little belt we need to do is going to be holding up this oath paper thing. Whatever it's called, I always forget. It's fine. And follow this around. Let me actually get just a little bit more paint mixed in. That's very, very watered down. Now, last time I talked about Dead Island, I think I mentioned I was reinstalling Dead Island 2. I was going to give it another try. I played it for maybe 2 hours, if that, and I just gave up. I don't know. It's so aggressively average, and I think that's worse than it just being a bad game. Like, it's just boring and not, like, there's no redeeming qualities. because anything it does, like there's just multiple games out there that does it better, and I really don't understand it. Two of my biggest irks about it though, and this goes for like a lot of modern gaming. Number one, because it's the easiest one to explain, is that game is very like melee combat focused, which is fine. You can melee combat's hard to do, especially first person, but it is manageable, right? Look at Left 4 Dead 2. Look at Left 4 Dead 1 even. Killing zombies with like the katana or like frying pan or whatever was great fun. It felt very responsive, and it honestly was sometimes better than the gunplay, right? Very well done, very quick, very fluid, very responsive movement, and attack, and animations, everything great. And those are old games at this point. Like it's you don't have to reinvent the wheel kind of deal. And I'm doing the back of that belt. I'm sorry you can't really see it too well. Dead Island 2, the melee combat, which is like the main focal point of the game, just feels super floaty, and it's not fun. Like it almost feels like you're swinging weapons underwater, and like the impacts on zombies, just there's no like feeling to it. There's no like chunkiness. It's really non-responsive, and it upsets me so much. So that's like irk number one, right? That's already like pulls me out of the game big time. Irk number two, and I realized this very quickly. There is a giant yellow diamond on all of your mission objectives. Doesn't matter like how minuscule the objective is. At one point, one of like the first missions, you have to open a gate, and you need like a it's like a battery or something for the circuit that's just broken for some reason. And actually, we'll do his hilts on the sword here brown as well, and that should finish us off with this leather for now. But so like this gate needs a new battery, and the battery is like 5 feet to the left in a little shed or a garage even, and the entire way there's a giant yellow diamond. It's not even like on your compass, it's on your screen. It's in the middle of your screen, telling you exactly where to go, exactly where to pick the thing up. And that's just like the start of the game. It's a persistent problem throughout the entire thing. And it really speaks volumes both for the kind of clunkiness of the objectives in that game, but also like the general downfall of level design in recent like AAA titles for the most part. I don't really see the issue with indie games and like AA titles as much, but a lot of like AAA studios. If you look back to like good games, right, and even like just older titles in general, like anything on like the 360. For the most part, it was all about like level design kind of pointing you naturally in the right way. Like you go back and play like Halo 1. It actually, I think like any of the old Halos, if you got lost, then it would kind of give you a little marker telling you where to go. At least in the first Halo. I don't know about the follow-ups. I don't think they did. But like you had to be lost for like a good couple minutes, right? And then it would just kind of give you that hint. But, Dead Island 2 and a lot of titles now will just give it to you, like 100% all the time. Look at Fallout 3 through like all the newer ones. You just have a compass with an arrow telling you where to go the entire time. Also, that little bit there is Magos purple. I do the same kind of color there every time I do those little papers for the wax seal specifically, and this is going to be corn red as I continue my rant. But so now, because it used to be, you didn't have objective markers like that, right? Like look at Morrowind or any of the like older Scrolls games, and any like just kind of classic game that does not have anything like that. All of those games, They have really good level design. The levels are always like, you know, naturally kind of where you're going for the most part. And I'm gonna be a little bit careful here. I don't want to ruin these blood drops too much. And there was just kind of a general focus more on, you know, making maps that just made sense. And you know, I was talking about Halo, like Halo 1 especially, like you kind of always knew where you were going until you got to like the later levels where they were like meant to be confusing. But that's a whole nother issue. Like the flood levels and whatnot. And like the entire Halo series as a whole like does really well with that. And then you get to more modern games like the newer Fallouts or, you know, Skyrim or what have you, and they kind of get to the point now where all the levels are they look good, but if you were to turn your HUD off, they're pretty like you can't navigate them, because just objectives are just kind of random. You don't get good directions to them. I can't even remember. Like, imagine Skyrim, right? Like, I can't think of a single character in Skyrim that gives you, like, actual directions. Every time you got a quest, it just kind of gave you a marker. And if you turn that off, like, good luck, right? I cannot think of a single time where a character literally said, hey, I want you to go into this cave. It's located right here. Maybe there's an outlier or two, but for the most part, like, no. They just kind of skip that step, and it really frustrates me with modern gaming. So that's my two gripes. And of course, I don't want to turn this into a channel where I just gripe the entire time I paint. I don't think that's very productive. But man, I've been playing a lot of just bad games recently, and it's really starting to get on my nerves. I did, in better news, I picked up Stellar Blade. Been kind of waiting for that for a while now to go on sale, and it's like 25% off with Black Friday. And then I had some like PlayStation reward point thing, so I got it for like an extra $10 off. It's very good. It's very Souls-like with the combat. I like that a lot. Ooh, I just butchered that wing there. I did not mean to press on that hard. That's fine, we can fix it. But so far it's a very good game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's pretty hard though. I will say that I'm playing on the normal difficulty. There's an option for like normal or story mode, and I kind of regret not going for the story mode now. I've been getting absolutely wrecked. But it is a lot of fun, and it has some pretty decent level design. So definitely my contender for a good game. As long as it keeps up the current pace and it stays, you know, somewhat fun, you know, sign me up. I'm in for it. I'm very much enjoying it. And I also want to do this flask, but we'll do like half of it kind of from the bottom down here. And we'll do the back if we can. Nothing too crazy. I don't want it to look like it's, you know, full. I want it to look like maybe it's been drinking it, right? That'd be kind of fun. But Stellar Blade, if you guys like Souls-like, and especially if you liked Nier Automata, Nier Automata, however you pronounce it, definitely check it out. Very good game. I can highly recommend it, and the soundtrack is really good too. And we're actually going to come back with that Magos purple, and we're going to do just one more pass on that little wax seal there. And then I think we'll clean up that sword a little bit. I want to add some Techless blue to it, and then we'll come back with a wash, and that should be the end of it. That'll kind of wrap us up nicely. So let me close out this Magos so it doesn't dry out on us. We're going to be going back to our Corax White. And actually, before we do that, let's do our Techless Blue here, in case we mess up this sword horribly. So originally I was kind of thinking of doing like lightning on the sword. I kind of like the white though, is the problem. So I don't want to do that anymore, but there still is that little like power thing there to indicate it's a power sword. So I do want to put just a little bit of blue on that. And if it looks terrible, oh well, we'll just kind of roll with it. I'm not gonna stress about fixing it up too much now, but I'll at least throw it on there so you can see what it looks like. And actually gonna focus just a little bit doing this. Please don't shake too much. And it's not too bad. Maybe if I'm real lucky. Nope. I was gonna say we could follow it down without messing it up, but it's definitely not the case. That's pretty good. I'm not going to do the back of it just yet because I don't care enough. You can't see it anyway, and it's a awkward to reach spot. So I'll do that in my own time. We'll just kind of continue things along, and we'll focus on the front of the model, because it's more for the tutorial aspect, not for the finished product. If that makes sense, I guess. I don't know. But we're going back to Corax White here, and I'm glad I waited to do this because it does mean we can fix that tiny little bit of blue that I managed to mess up on, as well as that red on the little wing emblem here as well. And just very quick, nothing too crazy. I'll flip this around. I apologize, we're going some wacky and wild angles, but that's kind of a theme with this model so far. And there we are, just patch that up, no big deal. And we'll even add just a little bit to the end of it here, because you can still kind of see that gray sear undercoat, and I just want to fix that up a tiny bit. Perfect. Actually, maybe not, maybe that's just the recess, I don't know. It kind of looked like there was a little bit missing on that wing there, but I think it was just the shadow. So our last step here, and this is going to be pretty liberal. We're going to apply this basically all over. Actually, before I do that, I almost forgot there's that little bit inside the cup there. And we'll do some corn red with that. I'll water it down though, so it's not too viscous. And I'm really liking this brush. I mentioned them in a previous video a couple of times, but I got these brushes off Temu. Like I got a 30-pack for like $3, and I gotta say I've really been enjoying them. They're really cheap, so I don't mind trashing them, but they are pretty decent. I really, they don't like fall apart instantly, which is better than what I was expecting. So I will definitely take it. I'm gonna keep using these. I do not mind them one bit. So there's our little chalice of blood, and now we will get to the final step. This is going to be our wash, and this is of course what we've been using, our Reikland Flesh Shade. This time though, we're going to apply this basically everywhere besides where the tan and the white bits are. And actually I take that back, we're just not going to cover the white, we are going to cover the tan, now that I think about it. And I would put this straight onto the model, but I don't want it clumping up too badly, so I am going to dilute it just a little bit on our palette there. And we can be real liberal with this, just apply it basically everywhere. Let me even clean my brush off just a little bit more. There's still kind of a tint of that red in there. And actually, I see why. It wasn't on my brush, it was on the palette itself. I was going literally right into that red that I was using. That was entirely my mistake, but it's fine. Nothing we can't salvage. And we're just going to keep going all over all of that gold real quickly. Nothing too crazy. We don't want any clumping. I just want to kind of let that naturally go into the recesses. And to kind of just give us a little bit of shade variation, if I could pronounce it properly, on that gold itself. And you can do this very quickly. You can take your time. There's no real perfect method to this. I just think it goes faster if you don't really think about it too much. And it's kind of the better way to do it, I think. Otherwise, you really start focusing on where it's pulling at, and it's more hassle than it's worth. If you really need to, you can go back with that base coat and fix it afterwards, but honestly, I don't think the pulling's ever that bad, even if you do let it kind of, pull horribly. So, and continue all the way up. We can even get that black area. No big deal. We just want to avoid that white, basically. Because, and I mean, you can if you want. If you want your guy to look real kind of dirty and rustic, that's fine. You can do the white. I like the pristine look, and I don't want to ruin it at all. So we're going to avoid that. But again, it's entirely up to you. It can be a cool look. I won't, judge you for doing it. But I think especially with this model, with the more kind of angelic theme, I think it kind of looks better just to avoid it altogether. And we'll even get a little bit of the back here. We're not going to focus on it too much. Again, we're just kind of worried about time here more than anything. But while we're here, I'll even go a little bit overboard with our 20-minute time frame. And actually, as we kind of approach the end of this, as we kind of wrap up, I just want to throw out, as always, once again, I do have a Patreon. If you guys enjoy this channel, if you enjoyed my project so far, and if it's helped you at all, feel free to check that out. The link is in the description. And of course, everything that gets sent to that just goes straight back into buying models and paints and whatnot. So it helps make more videos more often. Other than that, thank you guys very much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And I just want to say that I've actually really enjoyed this project. It's been quite a lot of fun. So I'll even zoom out a little bit there for you. You can get the full view of it. It's been great. This has been a fun little model to paint. I actually had some fun assembling it as well. There was kind of some annoying sprue points, but once they're all cleaned up, they really don't look too bad. So nothing I need to complain about too much. But anyway, as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.